Wetlands is another in a line of games which blend movie cinematics with gameplay in order to create a kind of interactive movie feel. There have been a slew of games lately trying to accomplish this, and some go as far as hiring big-name talent like Mark Hamill and Malcolm McDowell in Wing Commander 3. If it's not done just right, using live actors can often break that suspension of belief that games rely so much on. New World Computing's Wetlands is taking a different approach to this style by using only animated characters and environments in the same vein as Siberia and Full Throttle. This way, everything looks and acts just like the designers envisioned. Wetlands casts the player in the role of John Cole, a freelance tracker who has the job of hunting down a madman who has the ability to control the weather to the point where he can destroy the world. This quest will take the player through 2 major cities and dozens of underwater facilities. Along the way, the player will have to use futuristic cycles, submarines, and other vehicles, along with exotic technology and different types of weaponry. This is not a static game. The storyline branches at different points and will take slightly different routes depending on the decisions made by the player. So instead of just completing an action sequence to get to the next cutscene, the player will have a few more choices during the game. Although this is a cinematic adventure, the action sequences by no means take a back seat to the story. The player moves through a 3D environment from a first-person perspective and must shoot targets like turrets and enemy vehicles along the way. The environment is beautifully rendered in ray-traced 3D graphics, which add even more depth and believability to the overall story. Unlike Doom, the computer controls the movement through the environment, but there are opportunities for the player to make course decisions. If a road branches off the course you are currently on, you can decide to take that road or not. So, just as the overall story can be affected by the player's decisions, the action sequences themselves must be correctly navigated to reach the end. Being a cinematic action-adventure, Wetlands has graphically advanced cutscenes sandwiched between the action sequences. The story of John Cole's trek after the bad guy is told through rotoscoped computer animation that rivals any cartoon on television today. Using computer-generated ray-traced 3D graphics combined with dynamic cell animation, the viewer gets to watch and listen as the story is played out like a major animated motion picture. Although the graphics are animated, Wetlands never gets to the point of being cartoonish. Wetlands is a look at a dark, gritty future, and John Cole shoots lots of bad guys along the way. It may technically be done in a cartoon style, but Wetlands is not a kid's game at all. The storyline is complex, and in certain points in the game, the player must solve puzzles as well as blast themselves out of tight situations. Wetlands is a cinematic action-adventure game which is suited for players of all experience and ability. The simplicity of the game allows anyone to quickly get into the action, but the different puzzles, intensity of the combat, and the complexity of the storyline should certainly suit gamers of any capability. Look for Wetlands at the end of September or early October.